What's up, everybody? We are back, Real Rendezvous Crew. I'm Hunter. That's Brett. Brett, what's up? How you doing?
Hey guys, it's Brett. I'm doing good.
I just realized I did that intro like such like a local radio DJ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Real
end up.
Rendezvous Crew.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up on the local radio show. How you doing, Brett? What's up?
I'm good. I had to take a week off of work because my sister got sick, so that blew. It's money I'm not getting, but you know, it happens. I am digging the work though. I don't know. I had not. Did I? Blah, blah, blah. I had just started last episode.
Okay.
My job, and now I'm update. It's going well. I like it there. It's a good time.
That's good. Good to hear.
Forgot how to speak English for a second.
Do yourself a favor and find a job that you like because they're few and far between. I ended up lassoing myself into a job that it isn't my favorite. So, but it's kind of the only job I've ever had, and I make a good living. So I'm not going to sit here and gripe too much about it. What all you been into? Anything cool? Anything crazy? I know we were talking a little bit about Peacemaker last time we recorded. And, you know, I'm sure you want to talk about it, but I definitely want to talk about the finale.
For sure. Probably the best superhero show of all time.
Oh, man, when Alyssa listens to this, she's going to be like, damn you people.
I put that one in there just for her.
Yeah. So anybody that listens, the running joke with my wife is we throw around the term of all time for anything we talk about. like this water that I'm drinking. It's the best water of all time.
It's got to be.
Definitely top 5. But it really is, though.
But no, I mean it. Like, you know, that I've been enjoying the Disney Plus stuff.
I got you.
From Marvel.
Yeah.
But it's still they're still in that growing pain phase of trying to get out of that Marvel sort of sameness, and they're getting there. They're doing a good job. Moon Knight looks great.
I'm just gonna say though, you have to have a disclaimer. You're meaning live action superhero shows.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, live action superhero shows that we've been
sure.
getting. Peacemaker, for me personally, top of the list. There's like I know it's very divisive because it's not for everyone. James Gunn is not for everyone.
Yeah, he has such a particular style.
But he is 100% very much for me. Everything he does is right up my alley, and Peacemaker's no different. Especially that finale. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I really liked, earlier we were talking about good fight choreography.
Oh, that field fight.
Great fight choreography.
With the shield, like, it's just so good. And the character moments, James Gunn just balances, shout out James Gunn.
Shout out James Gunn.
James Gunn just balances, you know, just raw, stupid comedy with, like, gut-wrenching character moments.
Yeah.
And just... he just handles both of those so well.
I think John Cena really fleshes himself out as a good actor.
Such a good actor.
Yeah.
People have been disagreeing with me. Kaylee doesn't think he's that good. Mom doesn't think he's that good. Dad thinks he's just okay. Like he thinks everything else is just okay.
Well,
but I think James Gunn. I think John Cena has proven himself. He's just a great actor. He's so good at like handling again both the sullen character moments and the comedy. He's just so good. I loved it.
Well, prior to Peacemaker, the last thing I saw John Cena in was the most recent Fast and the Furious movie. He is not good in it. But, disclaimer, nobody really is.
Yeah.
So, and prior to that, even, I don't really think there was anything that, like, John Cena really wowed me in. And I don't want to say he wowed me in this show, but I can definitely see acting chops throughout, especially in the last couple episodes. I can't remember if it's in the finale or the second to last episode where he's that scene where he's in the mirror and he's reflecting upon what happened between him and his brother.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
Spoilers for Peacemaker, by the way.
Hey, I didn't say what happened. He dies.
Well, yeah. just throwing that out there in case we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we'll definitely end up ahead of ourselves. Anybody that listens to this, just
we
be
say it every time.
Be ready for spoilers. We ought to get like a soundtrack that just at the beginning, your shit's going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, just listen to something else.
Yeah, the last thing I saw John Cena in, that wasn't the Suicide Squad, obviously, because it's the same character.
Right.
So the last thing I saw John Cena in where he wasn't playing Peacemaker was Bumblebee. And
I never saw that.
You didn't see
Bumblebee?
Bumblebee?
It was really good, too.
I mean, really good in comparison
Best Transformer movie of all time.
Yes, but like really good in comparison to what we had gotten before.
I got you.
So it's like in reality, like on its own, it's just okay. Like it's a good movie.
Okay.
But like in comparison to the other Transformers movie, it's great.
So,
but he's fine in that. I don't really remember much of what he does.
The only Transformers movie I saw was the first one, and I think I saw the sequel, and that was it. I don't think I ever watched it. What was there, like 5 of them?
There's 5 of them, and they just keep getting worse. There's a new one coming out though, based on Beast Wars.
Beast Wars, yes, dude. So like that's my time period right there. I think it was like late 90s, early thousands. Like I can remember watching that whenever I was young and really, really, really loving it. If you like look up like nostalgia videos of it on YouTube and shit, it's got to be like some of like the most painful to the eyes animation. I mean, that was like in the early steps of like CGI animation though. So they were really trying to plant their flag with that anywhere it was. But it's still a pretty quality show. I don't know if you've ever watched.
I've never seen any of it now.
I mean, for a kid's show.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely way better ones. But speaking of kids show, finally got through the whole first season of Batman Beyond on HBO Max. Ready to fire up season 2. Man, I love Terry McGinnis. Like, there's this thing I saw on Twitter of this GIF of Terry. Is it GIF or GIF? It's GIF, right?
Whatever you want to say.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Regardless, it is Terry McGinnis at a club with like his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like dancing in the background, and my guy's slumped on a chair sleeping, and it's like. I remember seeing that, like it's a popular GIF. I remember seeing that prior to watching season 1. And basically it just shows that this dude is like a senior in high school and he gets this job working for, you know, Bruce Wayne as his like personal confidant. And then that's how he becomes, you know, Batman, like the modern day, well, for his modern day anyway, Batman. And he's trying to balance, you know, high school and life like that, doing his job for Bruce Wayne and at night being Batman. So my man's just exhausted.
He's tired.
Got no time for anything. So it's basically like Batman if he was like in Spider-Man shoes, like a young kid. But I really like Batman Beyond. It has good animation.
I love the Batman Beyond costume that you can wear in Batman Arkham Knight. They did like I
never played it.
It's Batman Arkham Knight.
Fine. It's fine.
It's good. It's an Arkham game.
Okay. All right.
But I don't know if you've ever seen that. I'll show it to you later. But they did like an armored version of it because like the Batman Beyond suit looks like it's like a skin tight thing.
It is.
It's got the weird mouth thing going on.
It looks so good in animation, but like if you like Google Batman Beyond cosplay, there's not a good one.
Well, the way they did the mouth thing is that they did sort of like a black mesh.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of see-through, but it's still black.
Okay.
And I think it was, I'll show you the suit. It looks tight. It was my go-to suit when I would play
you
that
are
game.
the ultimate suit critic. So
I love costuming.
If you like it, then I know it's got to look good.
It's pretty good.
I know that like we always joke around about like suits and stuff. Whenever I was actually looking at like Batman Beyond cosplay, not finding anything good, I still somehow stumbled upon Red X cosplay. I remember showing it to you a long time ago, and you told me that mask that guy wears is kind of like a run-of-the-mill, like a lot of people use that skull mask for a lot of different stuff, but I just thought it looked so good with Red X. I feel like Red X is a kind of character though that you can make like tactical, like because he had on like the vest and shit. But I finally worked through Batman Beyond, and I need to fire up Samurai Jack next. Finish it out. I have that on Blu-ray. Subtle flex, no big deal. Anybody listening? But yeah, Peacemaker, man, it was really good. We jumped over to Batman Beyond. I didn't even give my thoughts on Peacemaker, but it was really good. I liked it a lot. I love James Gunn though. Like Brett said, I really like the way that he meshes humor, like really like unforgiving humor, and it's almost like Family Guy style humor where he kind of doesn't care if he's offensive, but at the same time he does such a good job at grounding characters and making them realistic and giving them real life problems to relate to. It almost makes it to where being offensive is okay.
Like if you would have told me
like life is offensive, you know what I mean?
if you would have told me when I finished the Suicide Squad that they were gonna make me like and feel bad for and care about the guy who killed Rick Flag.
Yeah, man. Well, you know where I stand on that.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that, man. Joel Kinnaman is not a very good actor, but the one thing that guy is good at is being Rick Flag.
Yeah.
The only redeeming quality in that 2016 Suicide Squad movie.
Him and Margot Robbie.
I was so mad. So mad. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the Suicide Squad.
Spoilers for a movie that's been out for 2 years.
Yeah. But him dying, yeah, man, I hated Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I remember you asked me if I was going to watch the show, and I was like, nah.
And I was nervous, but they really pulled it around.
Yeah, it's a good show. I'm looking forward to season 2. The finale was great. I loved the threat, like the overarching villain, the butterflies. Yep. And you telling me that was like a James Gunn.
Yeah, he just made that up.
That's so awesome.
It's so cool.
It's so awesome.
So see how fleshed out their like world and to think that was just all him. It's crazy.
Dude's creative.
Oh, for sure.
I pretty much love everything he's ever done. Guardians of the Galaxy's the first Guardians of the Galaxy is probably my favorite Marvel movie, like my favorite MCU movie. And also, like, we watched Slither. I love Slither. It's one of my favorite horror movies. And, yeah, man, I really like Peacemaker.
I do prefer... I mean, I like the Guardians movies. They're great. Top-tier Marvel. Yeah. I do prefer when James Gunn's allowed to be R-rated. Because that's when he's at his best.
Yes. I think that, like, he still does a good job, like, with Guardians being able to teeter on that line of innuendo, like...
get a black light in here, it'd look like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Yeah, he can push that PG-13 and flesh it out for what, like, you know, it needs to be. I don't know. He's just really creative.
Yeah. My favorite director
of all time.
I wasn't gonna add that. I was gonna refrain from the of all time, but it is of all time.
Anything else going on? You dabbling in any games?
Yeah.
Did you pre-order Elden Ring?
Did you pre-order? No, I don't play Souls games because I'm not good at that.
I wish I could play Souls games.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, dude, every time I go to Walmart or Target or something, I'm this close to getting the Demon Souls remake that they put out for the PS5. Yeah. And I always have to talk myself out to it because I know I'm going to buy it and I'm going to play it and I'm going to be bad at it and I'm going to not play it anymore and I'm going to be mad about it.
Yeah, so like whenever Alyssa first got me my PS4 Pro, I got a... not Demon Souls, Dark Souls, the original with it. And I played through it for like a week. It was hard. It was not fun. It was slow paced. Yeah. And there's no story really. Yeah, you know?
You gotta look for the story. Don't tell Dark Souls fans that there's no story.
Aggravating.
Because they will find...
Oh, yeah.
They will give you 14 Tolkien-level novels of the story that you have to look for yourself.
Well, I mean, and that's all cool. Like, I love the imagery. Like, it's all just so up my alley aesthetically. But that game, I was like, nah, man, I ain't with it. Yeah. Well, then a guy from work randomly had 2 copies of Bloodborne. So he gave me one for free. I was like, this is my shit. Like, this is going to be the one, you know? So played Bloodborne for about a week or 2 and I couldn't progress at all. Mm-hmm. It was just too difficult and hurt my feelings, honestly.
Yeah.
So I gave up on him. And then I see Sekiro. I think Sekiro looks so awesome. Like, that is up my alley.
That's the problem with Dark Souls. They look so cool, but you really there's a niche there.
Well, like, Dark Souls is super slow and less of a story. Bloodborne has slightly more of a story, and it's not super slow like what Dark Souls is. And I've heard Sekiro is almost basically like a hack and slash, like a, you know, Devil May Cry type, just even harder. And it's got the most story out of all of them, but I still just don't know if I want to, you know, take that leap of faith.
Yeah. No, huge props to people who genuinely enjoy Dark Souls. I don't know why you guys hate yourselves, but I mean, hey, credit where credit's due. You're good at video games.
I wish we could get some kind of like Dark Souls comic book or like a Dark Souls like extended, like a TV show or like a movie or something. Because I love that aesthetic. I love that whole vibe that it gives off. I'm just not good enough to play the games, I guess. So
that is my exact problem.
You were talking about Sifu upstairs.
Yes.
Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, it's Sifu, yeah. Okay. Because I believe the word Sifu is this is just from the context of me playing the game. So feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I think Sifu is Japanese for like, it's like another word for like master or like sensei or something.
Senpai?
No, not that one.
Anyways, didn't mean to cut you off there.
You caught me off guard with that one.
It was good.
Also, you said it wrong.
Senpai? I don't know.
Senpai.
Sorry.
Get with it, Hunter.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm that like highbrow guy that like, I'll be like, Alyssa, let's watch this movie and make her pronounce well, I don't want to mess it up. Akira. And she'll say Akira. I'm like, that's not how you say it. But anyway, Sifu.
Oh no, Sifu's great. It's the combat is just so slick. It's a beat 'em up. It's a beat 'em up where the main gimmick is every time you get defeated, you age and you upgrade your character, and then once you reach a certain age, you have to restart. And it's 5 levels, and then whatever age you beat one level at, that's what you go into the next level with. And so the goal is to get better at the game and then replay the earlier levels so you can go into the later levels with a lower age so that you can get to the end.
Right.
And with enough strength left to beat the final boss. And it's just the combat is just so slick. It feels great to control. And there's a high skill gap. It's a hard game, but it's not hard in the sense that it feels unfair when you mess up. Like if you're bad at the combat, like you feel that it's your fault and you want to get better at it. And so, so I'm not super far into it yet. I've been.
I know a month or so ago, you sent me like gameplay footage, and like it looked tight.
Yeah, I'm not super far through it because I'm bad at it right now. So I'm working on getting my age down in the second level because the second level boss sucks, man.
Yeah, so it does have boss fights.
Yeah. You go through a level and you beat up all the grunts, and then at the end of each level, there's the boss fight. And
I got you.
Yeah. But no, it's really good. I recommend it. I would say check it out.
Yeah, I still need to get through Halo Infinite campaign. Man, I ain't fired up my Xbox in like a month. I feel like a bad video game fan. But I mean, I'll get back there. I've been on afternoon shift. It's been a little rough. I'm going to day shift next week. I'll have a little bit more time on my hands. So,
I wish you luck in your journey.
We've been... I just realized we've been about, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, about 17:44 as of that moment I said that.
I probably should have made the announcement. We do have a movie review in here somewhere.
We are, in fact, talking about a movie today.
I don't think I touched base at the beginning on what we were even doing. But, we wanted to, shoot the shit a little bit, but we are going to be reviewing Uncharted.
Yes.
And this is... uncharted territory for us.
Brand new movie.
Yeah, reviewing a movie currently in theaters right now. Mm-hmm. So,
and there will be spoilers. We will be spoiling the movie. We already talked about this, but I want to reiterate because I want to just make sure everyone knows that just because it's still in theaters doesn't mean we're not going to spoil it. Right. So, if you haven't seen it yet and you want to go see it first, then come back and listen to this.
Yes, that is a great job, Brett. Yeah. I love that plug. That's great. But Uncharted, it came out a week prior to this recording.
Yes, exactly a week ago. As of the recording of this today, when you hear this, it'll be 2 weeks that it came out. As of recording right now, it has been exactly 1 week since it hit theaters.
Yep, and I liked it. I think you liked it a little more than me.
I liked it more than Hunter did.
We'll flesh out our opinions here after we jump through this synopsis. Just a little note here. I know I've stated it before on the podcast. I usually like to read down the synopsis provided by IMDb. But since this is a new movie, IMDb does not have any synopsis posted on their site for it. So I am going to be using Wikipedia's synopsis. So bear with me. It's a little bit shorter. I might need to rely on Brett to plug a few things.
Yeah, we'll fill in some gaps.
Yeah, Brett has this uncanny ability to remember every single minute aspect of every movie. Well, if you liked it. I don't think you can remember every little thing of like movies you hate. Right?
Probably not. But okay. I do retain information very well about movies and games and stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah, like I said earlier, my mind works more like, okay, I have this much information for this much thing. if I want to gather more information for something else, I need to delete something.
I just have giant filing cabinets.
Well, your head's bigger than mine, so you can just file more info anyway.
I'm sensitive about my big head.
No.
Can't find cowboy hats that fit me.
Brett, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you on the pod.
That's it. I can't do this anymore.
No, Brett, come back. No, come back, please. But thank God he's coming back. But we are going to be reviewing Uncharted here. So, directed by Ruben Fleischer. I think it's Fleischer, who also directed Zombieland and the first Venom.
A movie that I love and everyone else hates.
Yeah, well, everybody loves Zombieland, though. So
Zombieland's unanimously.
Yeah, he also directed a movie called 30 Minutes or Less. Have you ever seen that?
I've heard of it, never seen it.
It came out like 2011-ish, 2012, something around there. It's Jesse Eisenberg, I think, is the main character, and it's about he's like a pizza delivery guy, and like his niche is he's like the only, like he's the best pizza delivery guy that works for this company. He drives like this little shitty car, but he always like makes it on time to deliver the pizza. And I think there's like something about like the plot. Somebody wants him to be their getaway driver for like a bank heist or something. It's like a cool plot. It's like
Baby Driver, but with pizza.
Yeah, it's not nowhere near as good as Baby Driver. It's a cool plot. I remember liking it, not loving it. I haven't watched it since I saw it in theaters, 10 years ago or whatever. But Ruben Fleischer, he's got mostly a well-rounded catalog of films he's directed. This movie stars Tom Holland, Peter Parker in the lead role as Nathan Drake, Mark Wahlberg, Antonio Banderas, and Toddy Gabriel. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't think it's Taddy. I think it's Toddy.
Is that Chloe?
No. I actually didn't write down Chloe's character's
Who's Toddy Gabriel?
Joe Brad.
Okay.
She's.
I knew it was either Joe or Chloe. I wasn't sure.
Well, I know her name just from seeing it in the opening credits of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like not a primary character, but she's a pretty prevalent character in that series. I never did finish. I wish I had. Me and Alyssa will sometime. I mean, it's not like it disappeared from the face of the earth.
Yeah. That's the Riverdaleization of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, so like Alyssa, it's made by the same people that make Riverdale, and like Alyssa said that it's like based in the same universe. Like I guess in Riverdale they even talk about I can't remember what the town is called that like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina takes place in, but like they talk about them like it's a rival school and shit. It's pretty cool.
They were going to Riverdale-ize the Powerpuff Girls, but I think it got canceled.
Good. I love Powerpuff Girls. And I'm not even afraid to say that. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
No, I love the Powerpuff Girls.
I mean, great that's
a fun show.
That's the GOAT, the Gennady Tartakovsky. He did Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab.
Did he just... Man... Cartoon Network was just cutting him a check every other weekend.
Dude, tell me those cartoons didn't fucking rule.
No, they did. I didn't realize he did all of them.
He also did that Clone Wars miniseries that I'm in love with.
Yes.
That I tell you about all the time. But his animation style is really cool. Anyways, I digress. Starring those people. This movie was filmed on location in Spain and Germany, among other places that I didn't write down. I didn't write the other places down because I don't know where the hell they're at on the globe. Once again, geography strikes, destroys us. This movie was budgeted for $120 million. That's estimated. Its U.S. gross so far is $57 million, but as we said, it's only been in theaters for a week. And its worldwide gross is already $145 million.
Yeah, which for a week, 54 million?
57 million.
57 million is nothing to slouch at.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make its money back.
Oh, for sure.
This movie is scored by Ramin Djawadi. He's really famous for doing Game of Thrones soundtrack and Westworld. I've never really watched Game of Thrones, but I know I've told you in the past I love Westworld. Really awesome. And that is all of my notes that I have here. Dang, I shorted myself.
Well, there's not really a whole lot. We don't know much about the background of it because it just came out.
Yeah, you are right about that. Usually there's a lot more fun facts prior to. But, Brett, is there anything else you want to touch base on here at the beginning before I start trying to wicker my way through this plot?
No. I was gonna drop the fun fact about the well, yeah, I'll do it. The one fun fact that we have, I don't know if it's entirely true or not. I saw it on an Instagram comment about the movie. Well, the post was about like facts and stuff.
If it's on the internet, it's true.
Peacemaker.
Yeah,
I learned from the best. So take it with a grain of salt. But reportedly, before Mark Wahlberg landed the role of Sully, some of the runner-ups were Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Pine, and Woody Harrelson. And I only bring that up because I think we'll touch on it later. Mark Wahlberg was fine, but I don't know if Hunter agreed with me. He didn't seem to agree with me, but I think Woody Harrelson would have done a pretty good job as Sully if given the role. I
can talk a little bit more later about Mark Wahlberg's role in this film, and he's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
but
he's not bad. But he isn't Sully. He's just Mark Wahlberg.
I don't think Woody Harrelson would be good as Sully.
No.
I don't think any of the... Woody Harrelson would be better than Mark Wahlberg, probably. But, I don't think any of those people, would have been able to do what I would have expected for Sully.
Some people were saying they would have preferred if Mark was Nate.
Honestly, man, that's...
And I was thinking about it. At first I was like, no. But then I got to thinking about it. I don't know. I don't think it would have been that bad. Especially if he just did the same performance he did as Sully, but he was Nate instead.
Now here's the thing with Nate, though. In the games, Nate's what, mid-30s?
Mm-hmm.
35, 40 range, right around there. And I don't think that Tom Holland's obviously what's he, 22?
He's 25.
He's that old?
Yep.
Man, I didn't realize that. Okay, but he's 25. And then Mark Wahlberg has got to be pushing 50. If not older than that. So they couldn't really find the right age group for either character. But
we'll touch on how surprising Tom Holland was.
It was an origin story, and we'll touch on that too. Anyways, let's start touching and we'll get through this plot here. So 2022 Uncharted. The movie opens. This plot doesn't even say anything about how it opens, but we'll go ahead and jump in it. It opens with the infamous Uncharted 3 scene with all the cargo hanging out of the back of the biplane.
Which was, in fact, shot on location 40,000 feet in the air.
Oh, really?
No.
I was like, wait, dude. Wait.
No, they did in fact dangle Tom Holland.
Well, no, I knew it wouldn't have been him, but
no,
I didn't know if they took some. I didn't know they took some footage of the motherfucker flying over a desert.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Damn, I should have wrote that one down.
I didn't mean to get your hopes up there. I was just trying to do a bit, if you will.
Oh, you did good.
That was
funny.
You
done good, kid. So, anyways, but it opens with the scene of the biplane flying over a desert. I guess it's over the ocean in this movie, though. With Tom Holland clambering his way back up all the cargo that's hanging out of the back. He thwarts off some enemies, finally makes it up onto the back of the plane, and then a car comes out of the plane.
Seriously?
Yeah, and basically knocks him off the plane. And then after that, we get the opening Uncharted, and it goes into a flashback scene. So we flash back to brothers Sam and Nathan Drake. What were they doing? They were stealing something?
Yeah, they were in a museum trying to steal the first recorded map of the world.
Okay, so they're in a museum stealing a map made after the Magellan Expedition. They're caught by security and taken back to an orphanage. Because this is Sam's third strike, the orphanage that houses both the boys kicks Sam out and forces him to stay elsewhere away from Nate. Nate goes to their room and catches Sam sneaking out the window to be on his own, but he promises his little brother that he will return for him. Sam leaves him with a ring belonging to their ancestor, Sir Francis Drake, with the inscription Sic Parvis Magna, greatness from small beginnings. So, you want to jump in here with anything? Because I do.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
I can't think of anything.
I really, really, really love the fact that they open up with one of the best set pieces in all of the games with the plane and the cargo clamber, if you will. That's not a copyrighted term. I just come up with that right now. But I really like that. That's one of the coolest parts in the games.
Our sister show, the cargo clamber.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that's a good name. We might just remodel everything.
Yeah.
No more Real Rendezvous.
Welcome to the cargo clamber.
But, that's up there with the infamous train scene in Uncharted 2, which is probably superior. But I really like that. It looked good. I like the guy trying to grab at his ankle and he kicks him. Doesn't he say sorry?
Yeah, he's like, I'm so sorry. No. He said that was purely reactionary.
Yeah.
Because he kicks him in the face.
Yeah. And then another guy just gets smoked by a piece of cargo. And I really like that opening. And then I don't really care though for the whole flashback. I understand that this is an origin story, but at the same time, we could have established that Nathan didn't have a family in a different fashion. At the end of the film, with the after credit scenes, I guess it had to make sense about him having an older brother. But I just didn't like the fact that we're already doing the origin story that every freaking movie from an IP starts with. Yeah. And then we're right into a flashback scene.
But Sam is such a big... Sam's basically a MacGuffin in the movie.
He is.
He's more of a plot device than a character, but he's a big plot device.
That's a good way to word it. Yeah,
he is responsible for basically the entire crux of the plot. Yeah, and so I personally feel that it was sort of necessary to establish who he was.
It was. My gripe,
physically for us to see him.
You're exactly right. My gripe lies in I don't want a goddamn flashback scene right at the beginning after you already showed me something tight with the story.
I was actually talking to Kaylee about it, and I keep flip-flopping on this because I'm not entirely sure how it could work otherwise because, not to jump too far ahead, but the reason they start with him on the plane, well, obviously it's to be here's action, please stay. Yeah. But also, it's sort of funny in a sense that we see all this stuff happening to him, and then later on in the movie, when we catch back up to that point, we get to see, from another perspective, all that stuff happening and why that's happening. And so, in that sense, I think it's necessary to open with that. But I was talking to Kaylee, my girlfriend, after we left the theater. I think maybe they should have opened with the flashback instead of starting with the cargo plane and then cutting to the flash. I think the opening shot of the movie was just it started from the Sam and Nate flashback, and then we just got to the plane naturally. Yeah, it might have felt less jarring to just be oh, hey, here's something cool, but let's go look at these guys for a second.
This opening, what is this, maybe a 10, 15-minute sequence here? Yeah, with the plane incident and then the flashback sequence. It kind of pulled me all over the place because, like I said, I really like that plane sequence, but at the same time, I was really frustrated with the flashback. And then, to salt the wound, as I said, Sam is sneaking out the window to leave Nate. And the CGI, they for some reason, they put Sam in front of a green screen window. And it looks like shit. Yeah. And, I don't know if you noticed that, but, and obviously... my wife Alyssa didn't.
I don't think I noticed it as hard as you did, but I did see.
I don't know if that was some of the whole, I'm watching a video game movie, so I got to find something wrong, but put this guy in front of a real window. You're making a movie that had $120 million budget, use some good cinematography. But, so I had a couple gripes right there off the bat, but anyways, fun fact here, Sic Parvis Magna, my cousin Joseph that lives in Texas, he's got that tattooed on his forearm from the Uncharted games.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a big gamer, dude. He's
shout out cousin Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph. You met him at my wedding.
Did I?
Yeah. Oh. He I can't remember how old he is. Man, I hope he doesn't listen to this. He'll probably be
was he one of the fellas I drove back to the venue or?
Could have been. I'm not 100% sure. I digress. Ooh, I've used "I digress" too many times on this podcast.
Strike it out.
Put that on the list with "at this point" and "of all time." No longer allowed to use "I digress." 15 years pass by, and Nate is now working as a bartender in New York City, and he's a pickpocket. While working there, he pickpockets a wealthy patron. This guy turns out to be Victor Sully Sullivan, a fortune hunter who worked with Sam tracking treasure hidden by the Magellan crew, and then he explains to Nate that Sam has vanished after helping him steal Juan Sebastian Elcano's diary.
He did not pickpocket Sully. He pickpocketed a girl.
And then Sully
pickpocketed him.
Yes. And
gave him his card.
That's kind of cool, like how they, introduced these two characters to one another. I like that they established they're both thieves.
And right off the bat, just that Tom Holland charisma. Yeah. I was immediately proven wrong. I mentioned in the last episode.
Well, let me rephrase what you just said. Tom Holland charisma. I didn't feel like it was Tom Holland.
Well, no, yeah, but I mean, just like that Nathan Drake charisma that Tom Holland brought.
Yeah,
because last episode before the movie came out, I was, all the way up to the release of this movie, my biggest problem was the casting. I was like, why is Tom Holland Nathan Drake?
Well, like you said, it's like, we're going to ride this money train until it dies.
They just wanted Tom Holland, and I was nervous. I didn't think he was a good fit for Nathan Drake, and then I was immediately proven wrong. We'll touch, we'll get more in depth with it later, but just know that he completely surprised me. In this role, he does such a good job as Nathan Drake that I almost felt bad that I doubted him.
Well, I concur with everything you said there, because Tom Holland is a good actor, but he does Tom Holland isms as Mark Wahlberg does.
Yeah,
he does Wahlberg shit all the time, and Tom Holland really he never did the pandering Peter Parker kid stuff. And I think he really showed his acting chops in this movie of being able to portray some other character. I know earlier we spoke about The Devil All the Time. He's really, really good in The Devil All the Time as well.
Oh, fantastic.
And so the dude's just a good actor. But yeah, so like Brett said, he ends up with Sully's card, goes to see him, and that's whenever Sully tells him that he knew his brother, and they had the Juan Sebastian Elcano diary. Nate, who has received several postcards from Sam over the years, agrees to help Sully to find his brother. Sully and Nate go to an auction to steal a golden cross linked to the Magellan crew. There, the pair encounter Santiago Moncada, the last descendant of the Moncada family who funded Magellan's expedition, and Joe Braddock, leader of a bunch of mercenaries that work for Moncada. Nate is ambushed by Braddock's men, and the ensuing fight creates a distraction that enables Sully to steal the cross. All right, so this plot summary is not given a whole lot of detail. Do you want to touch base on anything here?
Plot-wise?
Well, I was going to say this whole scene of this heist is a little underwhelming, but still a cool set piece.
Yeah, it's also prefaced that they just didn't even touch on of a nice sort of montage of them planning for the heist.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a montage in the traditional sense, but I just mean that in the sense that we go through their plan. It had a really good joke where he's Nate's all right, I'm gonna need bolt cutters, a screwdriver, and a cat.
Yeah.
And then, Sully gets all this stuff and he's like, what's the cat for? And Nate's like, oh, for you. Your life seems really sad.
Yeah.
that was really funny.
I like that the cat pops up later in the film too. That was hilarious. I laughed at that. But
Mr. Whiskers.
I did like the whole plotting of how they were going to steal it, and in true Uncharted fashion, that entire plan
goes out the window.
Yeah, it's all for naught. There's a little bit of a fight scene here, as it says, with Braddock's men. It's established that one of Braddock's men is a big Scottish guy, and it's a running joke throughout the film that every time he speaks, to Nate, he has no idea what he says.
Completely unintelligible.
Which is hilarious.
A proper Scottish welcome.
Yeah, like you can kind of tell what he's saying, but it's still funny.
I'm sorry?
So anyways, they get the cross and then proceed to travel to Barcelona, Spain, where the treasure is supposedly hidden, and rendezvous with Sully's contact, Chloe Fraser, who has another cross. I want to jump in here real quick whenever it shows like the whole montage, not a montage, but the sequence of them traveling. There's an homage to Indiana Jones where it shows like a plane going across the map with like the red dotted line. I really love that. That would have been a great time to use the Uncharted theme.
That's a good point.
Now, granted, I get that's like Indiana Jones uses its theme when it does that. Right? But at the same time, like, I love that Uncharted theme. I wouldn't have been mad about it.
Yeah.
But that's me. Go ahead. Yeah, get the trumpets and the wood, the string instruments out.
I'm a one-man orchestra.
Yeah, he's over here like got a accordion and a harmonica, keyboard.
The symbol on my back. It's like the big instrument backpack.
Anyways, whenever they meet up with Chloe's really standoffish and ends up stealing the cross that they have from Nate. But Nathan and Sully are able to chase her down and convince her to work with them. Meanwhile, Moncada confronts his father, Armando, upon learning that the family's fortune is being donated after Armando states his son is not worthy of inheriting it. And Moncada is really, really upset about this. And in a later scene, he ends up ordering Braddock to kill his father. It's also established in the film, in case you didn't understand from Moncada's name, he is Hispanic, and his base is in Barcelona. So that's why he's already there. Nathan, Chloe, and Sully end up following clues from Elcano's diary to Santa Maria del Pi. P? I can't remember.
Is it P.I.?
P.I. Pi.
Pie.
We'll go with pie. Nobody likes P.
Well, you'd be surprised.
So, whoa. Never mind. Santa Maria del Pi. Finding a secret crypt behind the altar in this massive church. Nathan and Chloe enter, finding a trap door, but as they open it, the crypt ends up flooding with water. Sully barely manages to help them escape after subduing an ambush by Braddock, and then using the two crosses, they unlock a passage. Nate and Chloe find a map that indicates where the treasure is located in the Philippines. I'm going to stop right there because there's a lot of stuff missing.
This is really broad strokes for the summary.
Yeah, this thins it a lot. Like I said at the start of this podcast here, not at the start, but when I told everybody what we were reviewing, I don't have a nice fancy IMDb plot synopsis to go through. But anyways, we'll backpedal here a little bit. This is a pretty cool sequence. At the beginning, when they go to the Santa Maria del Pi, it's a big old church, old Catholic church. They do a little bit of escape room level sleuthing to find a hidden passage. And I know you like the fight scene coming up here in the rave. So go ahead and touch base on what you like there.
All right. Well, so They do their sleuthing, they go down, and they're going through these tunnels, and they're like all excited. Nate's all excited because he's like, we're going to be the first people in here in like 2,000 years. And then they notice this just like modern day industrial piping just along
it's like
the
a
walls.
Ventilation system.
Yeah, and they're like, and they start to get the feeling something's off. They're like, shouldn't this ancient tomb be a little more ancient? Well, come to find out, they follow it to the end, and it's just an underground rave bar.
Yeah.
And so, they're like a little thrown off by this. And Braddock had sent her men down to follow them. She knew where they were. And so they're following down into the rave bar.
Yeah, it was established prior to them even going into the church that Braddock was on their tail.
They were tailing them. And so Nate and Chloe are in this underground bar, and they notice that Braddock's men are here, and they need to blend in. So they start dancing And they work their way up to the bar where Chloe sees, what they came here for, another keyhole.
Yeah, because this is an underground bar that is built, in a place that's existed for thousands of years. Yeah.
And so Nate, to blend in, because he's a bartender, hops behind the bar, starts making drinks.
Yeah, I believe what Chloe needed to work on was in the back, like in the inlay on the back of the bar.
Mm-hmm. And so he starts making drinks. He's doing his thing. By the way, Tom Holland, to prepare for like the bartending stuff, to look like he was a natural at it, went into bars and just started bartending until they kicked him out. Yeah, he said that in an interview, which is hilarious. But it paid off. Because his moves as a bartender look really smooth. It's one of those small things that like I just really appreciated, was how like classy and just like cool his bartending was.
He looks like Tom Cruise in this movie I know you've never seen, probably never heard of, called Cocktail. Mm-hmm. It's all about like Tom Cruise becoming like a really good bartender. I know that sounds like a terrible plot.
What kind of plot is that?
It's actually a lot more interesting of a movie than you believe, but like Tom Cruise does all the cool like bartending moves and stuff like that.
But so he's doing his bartender thing. The Scotsman from earlier comes up, and he's not buying it.
Yeah.
And there's a really funny joke where Tom Holland, Nathan Drake. I don't know why I said Tom Holland. Where Nathan Drake.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah. The Scotsman comes up. Nate's making drinks. He looks at the Scotsman and he goes, "Let me guess. Pina colada?" I remembered. He says pina colada. Okay. And then, the Scotsman just attacks. And so they're fighting, and he's grabbing bottles off the shelves and hitting them with it, and it's all just really well choreographed. Well, the Scotsman gets him pinned down. He's choking him. And Nate's like, okay, I'm sorry. Sex on the beach? And that might be my favorite joke, and I'll have to watch it again. I want to see it again. But that might, as of right now, is my favorite joke in the movie. It really got me. But just that whole sequence is just so well done. And a little too short. You were mentioning earlier how you wished some of those action, like smaller fight scenes, were a little bit longer. And I 100% agree with.
I'll get to that at the conclusion of this plot read. Mm-hmm. But talking about like him with the sex on the beach joke and everything, like you've already bought Tom Holland being Nathan Drake, and he just continues to hammer that nail home with this performance. That sounds like it's straight from one of the games.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that whole sequence,
that was Nathan Drake.
That whole sequence is straight from one of the games. A cool set piece, cool environment to destroy. Not destroy, but he's using the bottles. They're shit setting on fire at the bar.
Oh yeah, they need a distraction, so Chloe pours. There's a running gag in the movie that Nate's lighter doesn't work. Yeah, he always tries to use it and it just doesn't work. And Chloe needs a distraction, so she pours out some vodka or whatever.
Yeah, some alcohol, whatever. Yeah,
and she takes his lighter and tries to light it. And she's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it's like the games do a really good really good job of taking something and just having like an escalation of things getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And this does that to a way smaller degree. Yeah. But like I said, you could have pulled that whole scene, put it in a game, and I would have bought it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I really like that scene too.
Really nice sequence there.
So they're able to unlock this door, get through the bar, and that's whenever they're in the trap door area that begins to flood. While this is happening, they're communicating with Sully through their little earpiece things, whatever. You always see them in movies.
Stop touching your ear like that. You look like an idiot.
Yeah, that was funny. And Sully is like on ground level above them in like a little plaza looking around for what needs to happen. And whenever he's like trying to find whatever piece he needs to unlock at the top, that's when Braddock shows up. And then they begin fighting. And I'll let you like discuss the fight here a little bit, but it takes place in a Papa John's, which is really funny.
Sully, we really need your help right now. I'm literally in a Papa John's.
Yeah, so whenever they get into this crypt area that begins to flood, it's because they unlock it with their key, and Sully has the other key, and they realize that both keys need to be, unlocked. I don't know what term I'm trying to use here, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Both keys need to be plugged into what they need to be plugged into simultaneously to be able to open the door and, not let Chloe and Nate drown to death. And Sully's looking around, browsing around through this plaza, stumbles into a Papa John's, sees what he needs, and he can't, like, it's like encased in like glass on the wall. It's like a big mural with a keyhole in it. And as he's trying to break this glass, that's when Braddock shows up and a fight ensues. And he ends up winning, throws her into the glass, and is able to unlock it just in time for Nate and Chloe to come out of the water. Chloe, she's a little messed up. She's like half drowned, but we can talk about that if you want. She just out of nowhere pukes up the water. And,
yeah, she's fine. She wills herself back into the land of the living.
Yeah, Tom, now you got me doing it.
Yes, it's hard.
Nate, he doesn't have to do a damn thing to help her either. She just starts living again.
She hears his pleas.
Yeah. So anyways, the water runs out of the crypt area, and they go into this other room. That is whenever they find like these big jars, these big ancient jars. They assume the treasure's in them.
Yeah.
They open them up, and they're full of salt, and then out of nowhere, the jars break. I have something to talk about here that I didn't even write down, but I just remembered it.
Oh.
But anyways, the jars break, revealing they're all full of nothing but salt. One of them ends up having a map inside. Chloe finds a map, and like I said earlier, it indicates that the treasure is in the Philippines. Chloe then betrays Nate and takes the map, later hinting that Sully is keeping a secret about Sam from him before knocking him out. Chloe brings the map to Armando, having been also hired by him to Braddock's displeasure. So, a little bit of a twist here.
Double Agent Chloe.
Yeah. Chloe was also working for Moncada the whole time. In this scene, whenever the jars burst, they didn't really do anything to cue the jars to burst. And I almost thought it was going to be like, you know how every game has like a supernatural element to it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, are we going to get some like ghost Spanish Armada soldiers coming out of here?
That'd be cool.
I almost thought that.
I didn't get why the rest of the jars broke. I understood why the one that they were on broke because they were like putting pressure on it. It's really old.
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely sure why the rest of them were like, oh, did Carl just... All right, I guess we will too. Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of thought like, oh shit, we're about to get some spooky stuff happening. But obviously it never did, which is okay too. But so yeah, Chloe, she's treacherous. And she takes the map to Armando. After this, Nate comes to. Sully is with him and says that after he and Sam recovered Elcano's diary, they were ambushed by Braddock. Sam was shot and Sully narrowly escaped. And it doesn't say anything about it here, but we'll go ahead and touch base on this. An argument ensues, and Nate says he doesn't want to work with Sully anymore because he left Sam to die.
Whatever we got going on, it's done.
I love how like you give me extra information for the plot just through quotes.
Oh yeah,
of the film. It makes it easier. I like that.
I like remembering quotes. They stick with me.
You're a quote guy.
I am.
Alyssa gets so mad at me because like, well, I've told you before about how much she like hates Waterboy and like Ace Ventura and stuff. Because like when my family, we all get together, like that's all we do is just talk through like dumb movie quotes, and she hates that. She's just mad because she can't memorize movie quotes. But
she's a book gal.
She thinks she is. Don't let her lie to you. So they end up arguing. He left Sam, and Nate ends up. I can't remember what he does next after he leaves Sully. They separate.
Yeah, he just goes to their little bunker thing to get his stuff together, and then Sully shows up and they have a little talk.
Okay, all right. So then at that point though, they go to the airplane, the landing area for Moncado's plane. So they meet up to stow away on Moncada's plane, where Moncada, Chloe, and Braddock's team depart to go to find the treasure. While en route to the Philippines, over top of the ocean, Braddock betrays and kills Moncada, forcing Chloe to hide on the plane. She also still has a map at this point with the actual true coordinates to where the treasure is. Nate and Sully, who secretly boarded the plane, confront Braddock with Chloe's map, or with Chloe's help, while Sully parachutes out. So Sully was still with Nate. I forgot that whole plot point. Yeah, because
they were mad at each other, but Sully sort of talks him into, he's like, all right, well, let's finish this, and then we're done.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. So Sully ends up parachuting out of the plane, and Nate and Chloe end up getting ejected from the plane during the ensuing battle, and then end up landing in the Philippines. This is where we were at the beginning of the film, whenever the cargo, all the stuff was hanging out of the back end, and the car takes off and knocks Nate out of the plane.
Yeah. It doesn't touch on it, because it doesn't touch on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But the reason Nate doesn't parachute out with Sully is because he's trying to confront Joe about killing his brother.
Right.
And Sully's like, don't do it. This isn't the time. We got to go. Yeah. And so Sully has already jumped out, but Nate has the parachute cord of one of the cargo. But this is what sets off the entire everything falling out.
Right.
Because he's like, did you kill my brother? And then, she doesn't answer.
Yeah.
And then she tells them to open fire. And so Nate pulls the cord and that sends everything flying.
And once again, even though this is something from one of the games already established, it just does a good job of dismantling something cool into a cooler set piece. I really like the way, which, like I said, I was already familiar with it from playing the game, but I just really like the way that whole set piece fell apart.
Yeah.
And the fight sequence that goes on throughout. And there's a little bit of gunplay here, too.
Yeah.
A lot of missed shots.
Yeah, and then we're shown that the reason the car hit Nate out of the plane is because Chloe got into it and drove it out.
Yeah. And then we have, one of the most ridiculous skydiving sequences I've ever seen. Just absolutely defying any type of logic. Nate ends up getting on the car with Chloe.
And he's just standing on it.
Well, and then don't they somehow end up on one of the pieces of cargo?
Yeah.
Okay.
She gets out of the car and then she says, follow me. And then, Superman flies down onto another cargo thing.
Yeah.
Nate's not nearly as graceful. He's doing his flippies and he's, hitting stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, he falls a lot in this movie.
Which is another thing that I find, slightly unrealistic. Well, I'm not knocking it for anything, but it's just funny, dude, you're falling out of the sky, just gaining speed upon speed. Intense velocity, and then you're bouncing off these cargo, that would probably destroy your whole, break every bone in your body.
Oh, for sure.
But
cool to watch though.
Yeah,
looks awesome. It looks fantastic.
It still looked really cool. Before I keep going any further, too, I want to jump back to Braddock's betrayal here on Moncada.
Oh, yeah.
So it's established earlier in the film that Braddock's weapon of choice is this little serrated blade that's curved. It almost looks like a knife that you would use to gut an animal, for hunting or something. And she kills a few people earlier in the film with it. But being PG-13, every time she uses this weapon, it's really underwhelming and disappointing because you don't get it. The camera just pans away when she makes her fatal blow, and then whenever it shows her slit Braddock's Moncada's throat, he falls to the ground and it shows blood coming out of his neck, but it is it literally looked like they took a ketchup packet and just ran it across his neck.
This visceral throat slit that was supposed to kill him on impact.
The millions and millions of dollars they put into this movie, and that
barely grazed the skin.
And I get that you can't show, the intense violence because it's a PG-13 rating. And a throat slash is pretty intense.
Oh, for sure. But then it's just don't show his body then.
Or have her kill him some other way. You don't have to slash his throat.
It's a stab in the back. Yo, we're crazy with it. We should have wrote this movie.
Yeah, Jinx, knock on wood, owe me a Coke, homie. But yeah, I just felt like they could have executed that a little differently. If they absolutely had to go with the throat slash, get a little bit more creative with the cinematography, like we talked earlier. That was one of my more disappointing things in the film. So anyways, they end up landing in the Philippines where they realize that the map does not pinpoint the treasure. While they're cooped up in a Philippine resort.
Which they got into using all of Sully's credentials.
Oh, okay. So that's how they got in there.
Yeah, because
that was something when we left, I was telling Alyssa, I was like, how did they even like get into that resort? Like,
oh, he well, okay, so he's at the front desk with Chloe checking in. She the front desk lady hands him his things back, and she's like, "Here you are, Mr. Sullivan." Chloe says, "Really?" Nate says, "I was locked in a car with him for 4 hours."
I got you. Okay.
I had to.
All right. See, it's you with the mind. That's
Yeah.
good. So anyways, they're at this resort in the Philippines, and they discover that the map does not pinpoint the treasure. Nate discovers the treasure's true location through hints left by Sam's postcards, but leaves fake coordinates for Chloe after correctly guessing that she would betray him again. So she ends up taking the wrong coordinates. He discovers the Magellan ships and reunites with Sully, but Braddock followed them there to this island where the Magellan ships are, forcing Nate and Sully to hide as her crew hooks up these ships to these big aircraft carriers and pulls them out of the cave that they're crashed in. So let's talk about this for just a quick second here. This is advertised some in the trailers, and I don't know, anybody listening, I don't know what your opinion would be on two giant like helicraft carriers hauling two ancient like hundreds and hundreds of year old ships, but that shit fucks.
It was so cool.
Yeah, pardon my language, but that is like the best way to term it.
Oh, for sure.
And once again, taking a ridiculous set piece and dismantling it while action's taking place. So Nate and Sully find them first, like it states here, and they're going through all the treasure and everything, and they stow away on the ship whenever they hear Braddock's men approach.
Okay. Well, if you want to stay up there and get riddled full of bullets, be my guest. Or you can come down here for a quick cuddle, and we can get out of here.
Yeah. And they find all the gold in there and everything. So Braddock's men use these helicraft carriers to tie off everything and hoist these ships. They're kind of like stowed away in a cove. It looks exactly like the cove in Thief's End in Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if we talked about at the beginning, but this isn't a straight up reenactment of any of the games.
Yeah, no, it takes elements from all of them, but it takes most of its elements from Uncharted 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does with the older brother.
Even with the villains are pretty much Rafe and Nadine.
Yeah, you're right. Now, in the game, though, Nadine's not like a true villain, though, this year.
No, she is a mercenary, and she does take over the operation after Rafe. She rebels against Rafe.
Right.
And then, Rafe and Nate have their little pirate ship battle, but she's not, like, cold-blooded. By the end, she's like, all right, I'm just going to go, and Nate's like, all right, see ya.
Yeah. Isn't there, like, a DLC pack where you play as Nadine? Nadine and Chloe. Yeah.
It's Lost Legacy.
Okay. I never did play that.
I didn't either. I want to. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I don't know. I just don't know if I can do Uncharted without Nathan Drake.
I just never really cared for Chloe as a character, even in the games.
I'm gonna touch more base on Chloe here in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyways, so lost my place here. They hook up these ships and pull them out of this cove, and they're going to take them back to wherever her docking station is, Braddock's docking station. But in the escape, Sully ends up commandeering one of the helicopters, causing Braddock to order the other helicopter to approach and board with their mercenaries. Nate ends up defending himself from the mercenaries and shoots down the other helicopter with one of the ship's cannons. Braddock drops that ship's anchor while Nathan climbs the helicopter. Sully throws a bag of collected treasure at Braddock, who is crushed to death when the ship breaks and falls.
Dude, that was insane.
Honestly, I thought that was like a really cool death.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Like, when she fell, I was like, all right, so she's just going to get away. And then the ship started falling. I looked at Kayla, I went, no way.
I liked her reaction,
They just dropped the ship on her.
I liked her reaction, too. Like, not screaming, not panicking or anything. Because as soon as they established, like, she has an attitude whenever she kills Moncado, basically just because she's sick of his shit.
Yeah. She's like, this operation isn't being run very well. My turn.
Yeah, so like she just basically looks at that thing and says, well, I guess this is it.
Well played.
Yeah, so the entire ship gets dropped on her and crushes her to death when it breaks and falls. As the Philippine naval units arrive, Nate and Sully escape with a few pieces of pickpocketed treasure while Chloe is left empty-handed.
It's the property of the Philippines now.
And so that is basically the entire film right there.
Yep, that's Uncharted.
Do you want to jump into a couple after credit scenes or no?
Yeah, we'll cover the after credit scene. So the first after credit scene, we are shown a prison. I don't remember. It said where it was, but I don't remember.
I don't either. It doesn't matter.
Speaking of which, just touch on it real quick. Costuming and title cards are my bread and butter, baby. You put fancy title cards in your movie, you get bumped up a whole number score. And this movie has really nice fancy title cards.
What do you mean, like the font of the title card and everything?
Just you know, to bring it back to the Suicide Squad that we touched on in the beginning when we were talking about Peacemaker. That kind of stuff, I live for that kind of stuff. Like, not like boring ones like the MCU does where it's just like Queens.
Yeah.
But like when it like is in a certain font or it's like at an angle or it like comes in from somewhere. The Suicide Squad does it the best where it's like made out of the environment. I love that stuff so much. Kaylee even knows like the title cards would show up and she was like, oh, he loves it.
Yeah. No, you are right because Suicide Squad, I didn't even think of that. It does a really cool job of doing that.
Yeah,
like the transitions.
I love stuff like that. Costuming and nice title cards in the sky or made out of the environment.
Yeah.
That really does it for me. But it has one. It says where it's at. I don't remember what it said. But it's Sam. He's alive. He's in prison. He's writing one more postcard to his brother Nate. And so, you know, that sets up for a sequel. And then we get our end credit scene, which is less so like a direct setup and more so just like, hey, guys who like the games.
Yeah.
Look where we're getting.
A little bit of fan service.
Yeah. So Nate's doing a deal with the most cartoonishly evil looking man I've ever seen in my life.
The character's name was Gage. I don't know.
I think it might have been. But he's got like kingpin, white suit, like cartoon eye patch. He's like, this is a bad guy. And so he's giving Nate a map in exchange for his ring. And so, you know, he hands over the ring, but he's the bad guy. So it's a double cross. And then Sully busts in with a mustache. You know, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And you know, they make a funny joke about it. Nate's like, oh, what's on your face? And he's like, it's puberty, kid. It's right around the corner. You can have your own soon.
Yeah. Don't they have... Sully has like his signature like revolver from the game too. Yeah.
And so, you know, they overpower the bad guys and they're going to leave and you know, they crack wise some more. Sully's got his cat.
Yeah, Mr. Whiskers.
Mr. Whiskers. Nate gets his ring back and the map or whatever they were going for, and they go outside and it's left ambiguous, but they're stopped by someone that they recognize. Or something, they're like, crap.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to black, and that's going to set us up for a hopeful Uncharted 2. I do hope Uncharted 2 happens.
I would say it will. Like we said earlier, this movie is doing really well and getting mostly positive reviews. With that said, do you want to jump into some of the things you love about it first? Or, I mean, I can dabble a little bit here.
Yeah, well, I'll throw it over to you. I'll let you dabble for a bit.
Okay, so, as I said at the beginning, I like this movie. I do think that we are getting pretty much past video game movies are all bad. Mm-hmm. Because Mortal Kombat, you know, it had its flaws. It wasn't great, but it was good. Mm-hmm. Definitely watchable. For fans of the game, I feel like you'd like it. Sonic the Hedgehog's great. Probably the best video game movie ever. Can't use of all time.
Saved.
And then, what's another one that we watched recently? Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Is the worst of the bunch, but it is still not terrible.
Exactly. And you know, some of it may just be I played through a bunch of the Resident Evil games, like 1 and 2 specifically, prior to watching this movie. But for what it is, it still has plenty of redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
Not a great movie, probably not a good movie, but I would watch it again.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good movie.
Yeah,
I'd say it's like right. It's like right above okay, but it's not like so far into good that it's almost great. It's like right.
Yeah,
you know, it's serviceable.
But with that said, this movie's definitely, it's a hard good.
Yeah.
I would rewatch it. I'm a sucker for like big, goofy action adventure movies anyway. And as we said at the beginning, Tom Holland really flexes his muscles here as an actor. which I don't think the character of Nathan Drake would be a hard one to play. You just got to be that quippy guy that has fun with things. Yeah. But he's so believable as Nate. It's established early, and then throughout the whole movie, not just what he says, his actions, his mannerisms are all very Nathan Drake. I had no issues with him at all, and I really, really, really liked a lot of the set pieces. Like I said, the third act with the helicopters flying around with these old ships while all this action takes place, which that synopsis didn't really like give any information, but there's, the mercenaries swing like from one pirate ship to another, which looks like an old, like Pirates of the Caribbean type thing. And
they actually reference Pirates of the Caribbean, if you remember.
I don't.
Nate's steering the ship, having fun with it. He's like, batten down the hatches, drop the sails.
Yeah, he does say that.
And Sully's up in the helicopter, and he's like, "You having fun down there, Jack Sparrow?"
He does say, yes, that was good. And then they end up like using like all the old like weaponry that's on the ship.
They had that funny bit, which reminded me of the bit in Endgame where Thor's like, No, you get the small one.
Yeah.
And they do that sort of thing because Nate picks up this big, cool-looking, rusty pirate sword. And Sully's like, oh, that is pretty good. And he takes it from him and he hands him like this tiny little dagger.
Yeah. So that's probably the best set piece in the whole film that I really, really liked. I also, like I said already, like the already used set piece, already established set piece of the cargo plane incident. And I like the on location in Barcelona, the bar stuff. That's all cool. Those are just some of the things I really, really enjoy about this film. Now, with that said, my reservations are mostly in the, I don't want to say acting, because mostly everybody does a good job. But there's a couple characters that I had issues with that drug the film down for me. And my biggest issue with the film is I think it lacked getting creative with the PG-13 rating. Like we just said, the whole set piece on the boats is really, really cool. But when you play Uncharted, it's all gunplay. And Nathan Drake fires a gun maybe like once or twice in this whole movie. And I get it. Like, it's PG-13. I've watched plenty of PG-13 movies where people get shot. Like, you can do it. It can be executed. That whole fight scene in the bar, it was way too short.
Yeah.
It was only like 2 minutes. They should have made that way longer. The heist scene, it says it's a fight. There really wasn't much of a fight. It's more of a chase.
Yeah. And then he just ends up in the chandeliers.
Yeah. So that's a lot of issues I had with it as far as it had fun. It didn't have enough fun. It should have fleshed itself out more with the action aspect of things. Also, the characters I take most issue with is Mark Wahlberg as Sully, which I feel like most of the reviews I'm seeing have that sentiment. And then this other one, I haven't really seen anybody say anything about, but I can't stand Antonio Banderas in this movie. Bro, we get it. You're evil Spanish guy.
Yeah.
Like, he lays on his accent super thick, which I get it. He does have an accent, but it really kind of like just started to grind on me. And I know that sometimes on this podcast we've used the term chewing scenery, and I like to use it in a positive manner because usually I love my ridiculous like scene chewing bad guys like Jim Carrey and Sonic. But this time, like I said, it just grinds on me. I can't stand when he's talking on this cross has been in my family for generations. So much blood. Like, yeah, I get it, man.
And then that's the only thing he says. Every line of dialogue he has is the same thing, just like reworded.
Yeah, I was
my father.
And then I was happy to see the bad guy plot twist. But then that was just, like we said earlier, it was another scene that just could have been filmed differently and been more creative. But that's kind of where I stand generally on it. Brett, you want to go ahead and dabble a little bit there?
Yeah. I really liked it. I would go as far as to say it's like a really good movie. Like I said, I want to see it again. I can't even, I don't really have that many problems with it. The two characters I took the most issue with were Antonio Banderas' character and Chloe. The only reason I don't like Antonio Banderas' character, the accent didn't get to me as much as it did to Hunter, but I did notice that his dialogue was like, there's no flavor there. He says the same thing over and over again, just about legacy and money and family.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem with his character is just how wasted it is. Like, Antonio Banderas did not need to be in this movie.
Yeah.
His character didn't need to be in this movie.
And that's the sad thing, too. Antonio Banderas is a good actor.
Yeah.
Like, I love Antonio Banderas and a lot of stuff.
He was completely wasted. Yeah. I think if they would have just made Joe the main bad guy instead of going for that twist, it would have been the same movie.
Like
it would
I
have been
said,
fine.
The twist was cool. It was cool because you don't really see things like that anyway.
Yeah.
But it was just frustrating that he was so underutilized.
Yeah.
And like you said, pretty much useless.
Yeah, because like the twist is cool, but it would have been cooler if if he was an intimidating villain to begin with.
Yeah,
because he wasn't. He did not he did nothing.
I mean, I guess we were supposed to like think, oh, this guy's a bad dude. He killed his dad.
Yeah,
well, I mean, he didn't. He had Braddock
do it.
And nothing about that was really that intimidating because his dad had like 45 seconds total screen time.
Yeah.
So none of that really mattered to me.
So he was just a really disappointing villain. And Chloe's fine.
Yeah, talk about Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe's fine for when she's there, Props to that actress for being the only person they cast that looks like their character in game.
She does look just like.
She really does.
Yeah.
And she does a good job, but halfway through the movie, they just get rid of her. Like, when Nate sends her off to, the opposite direction, like, that's cool. Like, double-cross the double-crosser.
Yeah.
But, she's literally gone from that point forward. We see her again one time at the very end when they're like, ha-ha, idiot.
Yeah. And it's like he gave her, the wrong coordinates, but he gave her, the next house down address.
Yeah, because she was still in the same area.
Yeah, she just shows up on her little boat and is like, what the fuck?
There they go.
Yeah.
So, and it was just jarring for how big of a part she played for the first half of the movie to just completely get rid of her. Not even follow her side. Not even one or two scenes where she's like, oh, he gave that, that guy, he gave me the wrong chord. She does not exist from that point forward. And so that was just kind of weird. Just how they just I just feel like the writers forgot she was supposed to be in the movie or was a character at all.
Now, like we talked earlier, maybe it was a thing where, she had more scenes and in the editing process, some of them were cut.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there were Chloe parts that were cut out of the final movie. And I get that they had to make room for their big boat chase set piece, but she just the moment she leaves that hotel room, she's gone. She's not a character anymore.
Okay.
And so it's just something I noticed that I was like, huh, that's kind of weird that Chloe's just gone.
I just really didn't care for her that much as a character in general, and I'm pretty sure that actress is actually Australian, but that just also I feel like every single person in this movie had an accent. Mark Wahlberg had his Boston accent.
Yeah.
She had the Australian accent, and like I said already, Antonio Banderas is cringy, over the top Spanish accent. I don't know. I get frustrated whenever there's so much diversity as far as trying to listen to what people are saying. I forgot to talk about the best accent in the movie, the Scotsman.
Oh yeah, well his is on purpose.
Yeah, his is
over
purposely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's kind of the qualms I have with it. One other positive I do like about this movie is it is brought from, a already established franchise. You're going to have people, already established fans going to see it, basically everybody. It doesn't base so much off of, oh, here's nostalgia. Remember this?
Yeah, it holds its own.
It has admirable fan service.
Yeah.
It's not over the top. It's not every freaking scene is fan service. It's not on the nose fan service. I mean, there's what, maybe 3-4 things maybe.
Yeah.
Sweet cameo from Nolan North.
Oh, awesome Nolan North cameo. It was great to see him.
And then a Naughty Dog sticker. Really like that. but I thought it did a good job of having its own frame.
He said it in Nolan North. He said it in an interview before the movie came out, or like as it was coming out. But they were like, "How do you feel about Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake?" He's like, "I think he's great. I think he's doing a great job. I've seen some stuff, and I think he's doing a real good job." And they were like, "Some people are saying it should just be you." And he said, "No, it shouldn't. I'm like 50."
That's great, man. Nolan North's great.
Oh, he's awesome. Shout out Nolan North.
Yeah, it was a great cameo. With all that said, I guess I'll go ahead and give my rating here. Originally, I did have a 7 out of 10. Me and Brett had a pretty lengthy discussion after his viewing of it, and I realized I had a little bit more issues with it than what I realized after coming out of the theater. So I went ahead and knocked it down to a 6.75, which is still, pretty good. Totally watchable movie. Yeah. Rewatchable, and I'll definitely go to theater to see the sequel. Mm-hmm. So 6.75 out of 10 for me. If you like action adventure, definitely give it a shot. Yeah.
I'm going to be giving it an 8. I almost want to bump it up to an 8.5.
Sucker.
Nah. I almost want to bump it up to an 8.5. I'm going to leave it at the 8. There's just so much to love about it. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it knows that and it's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because, this movie didn't come out. No one in the making of this movie wanted to make some masterpiece of filmmaking. They wanted to make a fun action adventure movie with cool set pieces and likable characters. I didn't touch on this earlier, but when I was talking to Kaylee about it, the thing I love so much about it is just the chemistry between everyone. Yeah. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland's chemistry
they do have very good chemistry.
I could watch that forever. That's why I want a sequel so bad, because I just want to see more of them just, their back and forth and their jokes.
I want a sequel because I'd like to see those two's chemistry now that it's already established. Yeah. Like I said, I'm so over origin story shit. So, I would like to see, because in the game, in the original Uncharted,
they've known each other. They're just like, hey, these guys know each other. They're friends. Here you go.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that front.
And, a lot of people have issues with Mark Wahlberg as Sully, and I'll agree. He's not Sully.
Well, he just does so much Mark Wahlberg stuff.
Mark Wahlberg is in this movie.
He doesn't look like
himself.
Sully. He doesn't talk like Sully. He really doesn't act like Sully.
Yeah, he's a lot jokier than actual Sully is.
Yeah.
Sully in the games he's witty, but he's a lot more dry. He's a lot drier than Nate. Right. In this movie, they sort of put Nate and Sully on par with each other in terms of their wit and their snark. And maybe it's just because this is a younger Sully, and maybe he'll grow into the more sullen, dry, humored guy throughout the franchise if it gets a franchise. But I really didn't hate it, because I'm the kind of guy, I don't want my adaptations to be completely 1-to-1.
No, it shouldn't be.
I want the elements to be there, and Tom as Nate does a better job of channeling his game character than Mark Wahlberg as Sully does.
Yeah.
And I do see where that criticism comes from. But it's not enough to ruin the movie for me, because I believe that adaptations shouldn't be 1-to-1. They should be, they should brush, with what they have and have that stuff in there that relates back to what they're adapting.
I like your hand.
I'm talking with my hands right now.
Your
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited, but the Assassin's Creed movie that came out. Not great.
I never did watch it.
Not great by any means.
Yeah.
But what they did with that world, because the Animus in the games is just a bed that you sleep in, and then you dream the assassin stuff. That's not fun to watch.
Right.
So they made a change, and they made the Animus sort of this holodeck with this giant, cool robot arm that plugs into your psyche, and then it's holograms and stuff. And that's awesome. And I thought that was a super, everyone hated it. They were like, that's not in the games.
Yeah.
It's arguably better than the games. I think that's a cooler way to do the Animus.
That's one of the worst things about super devout fan bases is they just get so mad over some dumb stuff.
I was talking to you earlier. I feel like there are people that are fans of the games that don't have real problems with this movie, but are trying to make one so that they can say, bad video game movie. It's nothing like the games. It's it doesn't have to be.
Right.
I saw people criticizing the fact that Tom Holland, that this Nathan Drake is a bartender.
Yeah.
That's such a small, dumb thing that's used in the movie.
I had no issue with that.
Yeah, whatsoever. Because why would you,
Right.
So, yeah. So I'm a lot more lenient when it comes to adaptations because I believe, that media should be able to be changed and molded for new audiences. And with that being said, I'm going to contradict myself by saying I'm kind of upset that the journal isn't Nate's.
That's well, at least you said I'm going to contradict myself here.
No.
But that's okay, though. That's a fair criticism. Man.
Yeah. And that had nothing to do with my number score. That didn't drop it down anything.
We're already established fans.
Yeah.
It's just you can't have the blinders on.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't say this is what it needs to be.
And then another thing that I understand why, and so it didn't contribute to the score, but I did want to touch on it. Elena does not exist in this movie in any shape. She is not referenced. She is not teased. Elena does not exist. And I get why. It's because at this point in this Nathan Drake's life, Elena wouldn't even be... Because the only reason they met was because she was a reporter and Nate was an established adventurer. So maybe she'll be in the sequel. Maybe they'll bring her in.
I would say she would be.
I was hoping for maybe like a little tease in one of the post-credits scenes. But, I get why she's not there. But she's just such a big part of the games that I noticed her absence. I was like, oh, no Elena? But I get why. So that had nothing to do with the score. It's just something I wanted to point out.
You saying score gives me another thing I want to bring up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good score, a good film soundtrack, and this is another negative for me is this movie does... Dude, Uncharted has such a a goated theme song, and they didn't use it till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
3/4 of the way through the movie. And it was cool when they used it. They used it in the Nolan North cameo.
Which is a great place to use it.
Yeah, but I wanted to hear it earlier.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear it often.
Yeah.
And nothing else about the soundtrack really wooed me, which, it's from Ramin Djawadi, who I love Westworld, and I love his soundtrack in Westworld.
Yeah.
So, I was disappointed on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I will say it was very light in the original score department from him. However, in terms of the soundtrack of the licensed music, I don't know the exact name of the song that plays, but there are two songs in particular that play that are just bangers, and they just set the scene. They just fit the scene that they're in so well, and so I enjoyed hearing those because I'm not as big into background music. I am more so as we've done the show, and because you're a big score guy.
Yeah,
I notice it more than I ever used to, but I'm still not super it's not something that really affects my opinion one way or the other unless it's noticeably bad. Yeah. So. But I see where that criticism comes from, especially from such an established and guy with such good work. It is with such a nice catalog. Yeah, it is weird that they didn't really let him shine as much.
So something else here, real quick, before we wrap up. You right off the bat, whenever you said this movie knows what it is, it's a fun movie. Mm-hmm. Looking at Ruben Fleischer's filmography,
fun movies.
He knows how to make a brainless fun movie.
Yeah.
So the first Venom and Zombieland. Zombieland is the epitome of ridiculous fun movie.
Exactly. People that are going into this looking for some profound, life-changing cinema. Yeah. You're going into it for the wrong reasons.
I think a long time ago, episode 1 of Real Rendezvous, we established we're reviewing things we like.
Yeah.
And we're not the Oscars here.
No.
No. So, but... with that said, anything else you want to give about there?
Just one small thing because I didn't know where else to fit it in. But we were talking about how I'm a big costume guy and I love seeing comic accurate or game accurate costumes and stuff. And so when Nate finally dons his his
holster,
his white shirt and his pants and his ring, and he puts his holster on, I was sort of giddy about it. I was like,
I got pumped up too.
Yeah, well, Kaylee, who has no affiliation with the games, was it's the shirt and khakis. I was like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, what's so creative about that outfit? I liked his other one.
So that was just a funny thing. That happened a couple times. We were talking about it before we started recording, but he opens a chest and there's a Naughty Dog sticker, and I was like, ah. Yeah. And then my girlfriend was like, postcards? I was like, no, the sticker. And then Nolan North comes in. I was like, it's Nolan North. And Kaylee was like, it's an old guy? Why are we freaking out about this? So that was funny. Oh, by the way, Kaylee gave the movie a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Alyssa said 10 out of 10. So,
and I will say, I do think that this movie, and this is a plus, it is completely enjoyable for people that know nothing about the games. You can have never heard of an Uncharted before, and you will like this
100%
movie
agree with
if
that.
you enjoy globetrotting adventure.
I could totally see like some 7th grade girls being like, "Did you see the new Tom Holland movie?"
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know where I was going with that. There is no and I don't know why I said that.
That's okay. With that said, I'll close it out here.
Yeah, that's all I got for him.
So you 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked this movie.
This is something else I jockeyed around. Like, we can give it whatever the hell we want, dude. If you want to give it an 8.3, you can. So
you know what? 8.3 sounds accurate. Thank you for reassuring me with that. 8.3 out of 10 is what I give this movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I am hopeful for a sequel.
I'm going to stay steadfast with 6.75 out of 10.
I think this is our biggest score difference ever.
It is.
History of the show.
I think we did a good job of bouncing off of each other's opinions, recognizing pros and cons. So
good stuff.
So that is Uncharted, our review of 2022's Uncharted. Definitely check it out. With that said, I'm Hunter. That's Brett. Brett, you want to hit the socials and wrap us up?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to follow us on anything, you can find us on Twitter at Real Rendezvous, just all one word. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at real_rendezvous_pod. And I mentioned this in the last episode in a little post-credit scene, but our YouTube is live. So if you don't want to listen on streaming platforms, you have friends that don't have streaming platforms and would rather go through YouTube, the channel name is The Real Rendezvous, all one word. All the episodes are currently up on there, so you can go. And if that's a good place, if you want to give feedback, you can go in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. So there you go.
All right. We have been The Real Rendezvous. We're looking forward to next time.
All right. See you guys.
Later.